Welcome to The Road to Reopening, a curated collection of high-value tools and resources for you and your business. We're your hosts. I'm Cathy Kuzel.
And I'm Paula Scaper.
And today, as part of this fabulous event, we're speaking with our featured expert, Ben Baker of Your Brand Marketing and the executive producer of Communicate Your Why podcast network. Let's bring him in. There you are. Hi, Ben.
Welcome.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
We're great. Thank you so much for your contribution and expertise to the Road to Reopening Resource Toolkit. It's just a pleasure. I love all the ideas and the insights that you always have. So for those that have joined us today, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the goods.
Well, I've been involved in communication for 25 years. I started off in direct mail about 25 years ago, killing a lot of trees. We would put 100,000, 500,000, million pieces of direct mail out in the marketplace. But it's evolved over the years. But it's always been about telling people stories. And what we do is we try to help people figure out who they are, what they do, why they do it, who they do it for, and put it in a position where people listen, understand your value to them, and are compelled to engage.
Oh, absolutely. Stories are extremely important. So what we're focusing on today, of course, is podcasts. And we know definitely there are benefits to having podcasts as part of a marketing strategy in almost any business. But what we're seeing is that it is a very underutilized tool within the business marketplace. And some of the things that we've seen is, wanting to know why they're not using those tools. So share with us, what are the benefits? Like what would be the great benefits of having that podcast? 2, what are the hurdles that business owners are facing in wanting to adopt or utilize this tool? And 3, what resources are there and how can we make that work?
Well, the big thing is, let's start off with the benefits of a podcast. A podcast enables you to have a multi-platform communication strategy. It allows you to communicate across platforms. So your social media, your email, your website, etc. And the reason is that a podcast is a content creation platform. All it is the way for you to create text, video, audio, images, tweets, books, articles, blog posts, etc. All of that can come out of a podcast because when you record it as an audio and video, there's an enormous amount of content that comes out. The average podcast is somewhere around 6,000 words. That helps you with your SEO. That's blog posts, that's articles, that's white papers. You're able to get short videos out of it. You're able to get audiograms out of it. You can create tweets. So what you're doing when you're creating the podcast, you're actually creating a content calendar for yourself that you not only use with the podcast, but it's ongoing touch points for your clients and your employees on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So that's the real benefit of a podcast. The challenges are that for every podcast that you create, it's a lot of work. It is an enormous amount of work. And probably for every hour you spend actually in front of the microphone, there's 4 to 5 hours worth of work that needs to be done. And 90% of podcasts fail in 10 episodes or less. In 2018, there was 500,000 podcasts. In 2021, there was 2.5 million podcasts. And 90% of the people fail because they don't have a strategy. They don't understand how much work it is. They don't understand how to keep it going. And they don't understand why they're doing a podcast in the first place. So those are the benefits and the disadvantages of a podcast. Now, in terms of, what are the resources out there? Well, the first thing that I've given everybody here is I've given everybody a 30-day launch calendar. Here is what you need to do 30 days, day by day by day, in order to get your podcast up and running. And it's a long laundry list. It truly is. I think it's a 5 or 6 page document on how to, how day by day, these are the things on a checklist basis you need to be able to do to be able to launch a podcast. But it's understanding really, why are you doing the podcast? Who are you doing it for? What are you trying to achieve? What's the long-term benefit? Are you doing it yourself? Are you doing it as a guest? Are you going to have multiple hosts? Are you going to host it yourself? How are you going to distribute it? There's lots of things that you need to look at, and we have all the tools for that. We're finding that the majority of people really want the cachet of the podcast. They want the benefit. They want the content from a podcast. They just don't want to do it themselves. And that's why we created the Communicate Your Why program. Sorry, Paul.
No, that's totally fine. I was just going to ask you something on that, because as a growth architect, one of the things that I find a lot of my clients struggle with when I'm encouraging them to look at podcasting as a marketing strategy, there's 2 pieces. There's fear about not having enough content, but almost the bigger hurdle is fear of the technology, because it's not as easy as it sounds to actually engineer a podcast. So are you able to support people in that way, kind of getting through some of those tech hurdles?
Yeah, I mean, the tech hurdles are a big thing, because most people sit there and go, okay, where do I even start? How do I edit audio? How do I edit video? How do I make sure that the sound levels are the same? Like, there's 3 of us on this podcast right now. Are the sound levels the same? Do we have, comparable cameras so the video quality is all the same? And if they're not, what do you do about it? I've got a tech team of 50 people that handle all that for me. So as I scale and as we bring on more podcasts, we just feed them right into the system. And it enables people to just be able to move into a system that's already there. It's up and running. It's proven. It's successful. And it takes a lot of those fear and a lot of that back end work and all the trouble out of your hands, and lets you focus on just telling your story and shining and being there to serve your customers, which is really what you want to do in the first place.
Oh, very well said. And I know that there's a lot more behind that. And so what I'm going to encourage is, for those of you that have joined us today, find out more about what Ben has to offer you. Ask him the questions. Click on the link below in our list of experts, and you'll be able to contact Ben and have that conversation. And I know, Ben, you're there to help them and make that podcast a real thing, right?
Absolutely. And I'm willing to give everybody 30 minutes of my time to understand, what are you trying to achieve, and be able to figure out, how can I help you? Whether it's consulting, whether it's done for you packages, whether it's just strategy. We'll work with you in a way that's going to make it help you be successful.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much, Ben, for sharing, as I said, your insights and your expertise. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And again, click on the link below and find out more about what Ben has to offer and how you can benefit from that. So, Ben, we're going to bid you adieu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. It's been great.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So that was amazing, Cathy. I mean, incredible how complicated podcasts can seem, and yet how easy they can be when you've got the right group of people to support you and you know what you're doing and why, eh?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people, right? That's
definitely.
So
definitely.
So I invite everyone here to join us tomorrow as we have a conversation with Isabel Mercier of Leap Zone Strategies. So that's it for today. I'm your host, Cathy Kuzel.
And I'm your host, Paula Scaper.
And we look forward to seeing you on the road to reopening.
Bye for now.